Okay, welcome everybody to the main event 137. Can't believe we've been doing it that long, but yeah, it's really been a great deal of fun, and a lot of people have been getting good responses from having been on the event. Of course, today we're talking about the What's in a Name challenge, but before we do that, I always like to start the event by talking about news of the week. So I'm going to go into that, and then we'll start having everybody participate here. Of course, the big news this week was Adobe Max. And the big news out of Adobe Max was about Firefly becoming an all-in-one creative studio. They're including Gemini 2.5, Nano Banana for image generation. You can now create a visualizing board. You can generate soundtracks. You can generate speech. They have video editing in private beta right now. There's prompt editing, Firefly creative production, which is also in private beta, and image modeling. And this is one of the things that I've always said about Adobe. Adobe has a corporate ego that has served them well for a long time, and that is they intend to be the industry standard in whatever they do. And so, even though they may be getting into some of this stuff a little later than others, they're kind of trying to be the best in the business. And one of the ways they do that is either partnering with different companies or buying them out. Right now, they're also partnering with 11 Labs. They're also partnering with Topaz Bloom for scaling. I think that's very interesting because for years, there's been other products out there that are doing a better job of scaling images than Photoshop does. I think it's interesting that they have now partnered with a company that will make it possible for them to do a better job of upscaling. Photoshop's not bad, but like I've been working in a program for years on one, ON number one, Photo Raw. This is now I'm working in 2025. And what they have done for years is use fractals for increasing the size of images. Now they use both fractals and AI. You can go, 700% up or whatever. I mean, it's amazing what you can do and hold quality. Plus, they have other adjustments and stuff in there. Well, on with the other news. And speaking of Adobe Max and Firefly, I've put two posts in there from Brian Sykes about his new book that he's working on that is going to be a book on Firefly. He had a back to basics book about Mid-Journey. He's now doing one on Firefly, and that should come out before the end of the year. Right now, he's got pre-sale and a big cut if you for the first 100 people to sign up of only $19 for the book. So I signed up for it yesterday. Runway sketch, any sketch to anything. They announced Runway. There's a nice little demo of them showing a sketch and then it turning into all kinds of things. There is a post about AI site building with Wix Studio. Speaking of that, on the 21st of November, Deepika Grover is coming back on the main event, and she's going to be talking about her business of using AI to create websites. She was one of the people that had, I think last I knew, she had like 110 people who'd seen the recording of the event on YouTube of when she was on. So impressive lady. She's in India. Lastly, I frequently put a post in from Sherry Horowitz because she is usually giving some little tips that are just worth looking at. This one is particularly relevant to today's event because she's talking about a one-word prompt, actually about adding that word to your prompts, especially if you're looking for a certain style of fashion or whatever. And the word that she's putting into the things is the name of different magazines. So the results you get if you put in the word Esquire or New Yorker or GQ or Mad Magazine, you will get results that are in the ilk of those kind of magazines. So that's all of the news today, and I continue to be amazed that every single week there's a bunch of new news. So today we are going to have you people as the guests on here. You are the ones that are going to be doing presenting, and we want to see, the results that you had created with the challenge. And I also want to hear from you what your reaction is to having, done this, because everybody's had some very interesting responses to what they felt or what they saw with what was produced by using their name, their initial, their first name, their last name, or their nickname, as with Glenn, who has used 6 of his dozens of nicknames. Which one of you would like to go first? And for all of you, what you have to do is at the bottom of the window, there's a share button. When you click on the share button, you'll get a window that you'll click for share. But over in the lower right-hand corner of that window, there are 2 things you should be clicking. One is share sound and optimize video showing. So those are 2 little boxes in the lower right-hand corner. When you go to share, click those 2 boxes, then the share button, and then we'll have you on the full screen when you share. And when you are sharing stuff, if you can show it by going into full screen, we'll just get a better view of it all. Bloom, you had some stuff that you thought you would get with your name and other things that were surprising. Would you be willing to go first?
Yeah, give me 1 second, just getting my images together.
Okay. And Vesica is here. Thank you for coming and your wonderful stuff that you produced.
Hi, everybody, and thank you so much, Al, for the warm welcome.
Oh, you're very welcome. Yes, Teresa.
I just wanted to say I put mine in a post on my profile, so you can just go there and look at them when it's my turn.
I posted everyone's posts in my profile.
No, I just made new ones.
Hmm?
I just made new ones.
Okay, well, you can show it on the screen.
On my, okay, I didn't know how you wanted to do it. Okay,
Yeah,
thanks.
I'd like everybody to show their stuff.
All right.
So, and June is here and finally revealed her results. Thanks for doing that, June.
Hi, Bigel.
June's in Malaysia and one
Yeah.
of my favorite architects anywhere.
Thank you. Hello, everyone.
Feeling
Yeah,
very glad here.
I just got my webinar done yesterday, so I got the chance, still a little bit of time to put up my name. and eager to see what others have with their names. So it will be fun, I think, right?
Yeah. Okay, Bloom, if you go into share screen, we can start with your stuff.
I'm ready. Let me open those up. This was really fun idea, Al. I really loved doing it. When I first started, I just did my first name and I knew I was going to get a flower. Obviously, Bloom means flower in German. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to get a flower, no big deal. And the first flower was mediocre, we'll say, we'll call it. Let's see. I wonder if I can open, if you'll be able to see it when I open it. Do you see the purple one now or no?
Yeah.
Okay. So it gave me just a basic set of flowers when I first put in Bloom. And I was a little bit disappointed because I was like, oh, that's not the rich, beautiful type of flower I would have created in Midjourney. And so I thought, well, let me put my first and middle name. And I tried that and it got a little bit better, but it put in a woman and a flower. Let's see if I can, oh, why won't this close? Interesting. That one doesn't want to close. Let me open the woman.
You can. You don't have to go full screen if you need to get the side images.
Thank you. No worries. Where are the women? Oh, here we go. So then when I put in my first and middle name, I got a woman and flowers. And that was kind of interesting and fun. And it was cute that it gave her glasses and curly hair, which I have both. And so I thought that was really interesting. And then I put in my full name and I got flowers that I would have created in Midjourney. And so then I was really happy. So these are the flowers that I got once I did my full name. You can see the quality of the flower. It has so much more texture and depth of color and depth of field in the photo, and everything about it is just a lot more rich than the original just bloom. One story about my name is that Blumenbauer means flower farmer in German, so I should have been a flower farmer. But I do
You
love
are an
flowers.
AI.
Exactly. And so here are some of the gorgeous images it came up with once I put in my full name. It just gave it a lot more texture and richness and color, everything about it. It's just very, I feel like you can reach out and pluck one of the petals off the flowers.
The
Really excited about that.
the depth of field is great also.
It is, and I put in no prompt other than my name. So thought that was really cool too, that it gave me all of that. So it was really fun. I wasn't surprised that I got flowers, but I thought I was very surprised in the difference in flowers between just my first name, first and middle, and first, middle, and last. So that was really fun. Thanks, Al, for the challenge. I loved it.
Great. Terrific. Who would like to go next? You're all going to go at some point or other.
I'll go, but I might need some help with the sharing. Let's see if I can
Okay.
do it.
Down at the bottom, there's a green button of the window,
Okay, let's
right in the
see.
middle. There you go. You're doing it.
Can you see it?
Yep.
All right. So, my name is Romanian, and I initially started out with not even thinking about the keyboard being in English. And my maiden name means shepherd in Romanian, and my first and middle name are flowers and little light, translated in English. But also my first name, Florentina, it has to do with Palm Sunday in the Orthodox religion. So I wasn't getting anything. I was just getting faces and of people that didn't mean anything, and some flowers. And then Florentine is also of Florence. So I was getting a little bit of Florentine images, but nothing out of the ordinary. So I posted those, but I wasn't really happy with it. And then I realized that maybe if I change the keyboard to Romanian, maybe I'll get different images, and literally exploded with meaning with changing the keyboard was actually accessing an entire community, an entire heritage, if you may. It started bringing out the shepherd and the little town images from Romania, and the little girl with the chickens and with the costumes that are specific Romanian, and of course the images of women with the light on them, or for the little light. So it was just absolutely incredible. And then I also got some modern um, images that surprised me. Caricatures, it's what I like to do. So it really surprised me that somehow from my name something like this would come out, and characters. And so it was just incredible. So changing the keyboard, it means a lot if you're dealing with things from a different language, from a different culture, because literally you're accessing that culture by changing the keyboard to that language. So that's my take from it.
They're terrific. They really are, and I'm so glad you did that to see that it was such a drastic change.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, thank you for doing it and sharing these images. That's great.
Now, how do I
Teresa,
stop?
Teresa, you had
Stop
a
share.
Teresa, you had a comment? Teresa, you had your hand up?
No, I was just ready to go next.
Okay. Glenn, did you have a comment?
Yeah, the only comment, Flory, was that because you're so interested in caricatures, I still don't understand why it would show you caricatures unless it had able to get to your, to your work from the past. That's an interesting coincidence if it were a coincidence, but I don't
Yeah,
think
and
it is.
I did not change any of, I mean, the images, the way that I received them, I just upscaled them. That was the only thing. I did not change anything on them. And it did give me caricatures. So maybe somewhere in Midjourney, there is a way of remembering what I'm doing, my work. I don't know.
I would
Yeah, I'm
Because it's
wondering the
not
same thing.
supposed to. It's not like ChatGPT that remembers what you're saying, you know? So they
Well,
can,
we don't know that, do we?
well, yeah, that's true.
Well, that's still a very interesting, results from the thing, and a revelation that we wouldn't have thought of without you changing the keyboard.
Yeah, yeah.
Teresa,
Actually,
what does
language will do that.
yeah,
There's a radical shift in the things that you're getting from Midjourney when you change language,
Yeah.
even though you prompt exactly the same.
Exactly the same, just the names, nothing else, no other words, just the names, and the change was incredible.
that's great. Teresa, go ahead.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yep, and see you.
Okay, so I wasn't sure about how we were going to do things today, so I made a post. It's the third time I've done it because I found it so fascinating, and I don't usually use my image to make images in Midjourney. So it's really, I think, pulling on the types of images that I make, which are usually realistic portraits. So my name is Teresa Dalia de la Mancha. I didn't do that one. Uh, and my nickname was T for the better part of my life. And I got divorced, so I haven't been using my last name, although I still have that name. And so I'm just using Teresa Dahlia for everything because then it's not my father who left and it's not my husband who I divorced. So I had a nickname years ago that I really like that I'd like to bring back, and her name is Tess. So all my bots call me Tess, and new people I tell them this. So you can call me Tess. And here she is. And it's because check her out. She's a little bit AI. She's a little bit fashionable. She's the new me. So here, if the name is put there, then the next images are all Tess. So that's the first one. Here she's a little bit more glamorous. I tried to upscale this, but it wasn't working, so I left it. And this one is still Tess, and it really has my energy because before the pandemic, I was performing dance on stage for a couple of years, and um, everything I did in my life before that culminated into that moment. And I had so much fun. And then I moved back to the States, and so I haven't found that kind of place where I can do that yet. But I was teaching dance and, becoming who I am now, right before I left Amsterdam. And I think this image is kind of her. She's not afraid. She went out on her own. She's performing. She's unusual. She's a photographer. I was filming bands as well. So that's Tess. And the last Tess came out like this. I tend to get a lot of Asian looking images. I have put my image through Midjourney a couple of times, but I always come out looking like this. But I decided, it doesn't matter. This one I think is me like sailing on a boat or something, just um she has some cat things on her eyes. I don't know. But I like her. I like that she's in herself. She's like, this is me, and that's it. And of course my name Teresa, which because people called me T all the time, they didn't really say Teresa. Not even my husband of 25, 30 years said Teresa. He always called me T. Um, but Teresa, I really like vintage clothing and that period from the 20s. All my houses I've always decorated that way. So that's kind of coming back here. Here's T. It's kind of interesting that this one came out with her face covered because she's gone to a certain extent. I mean, all of our selves are incorporated in our present self. At any moment, you're the best you've ever been, or the sum total of everything you've ever been. But I thought that was interesting, so I included it. She's not hiding. She's just, that chapter's closed, literally. And that's also T. Reminds me of who I was when I went to Europe in 1995. No, 1998. I didn't know what was going to happen. I was excited. I was all those things. So she's still there. And my married name, so it came out today, Sahulst, as a Dutch typeface. And I kept the name too because I still live there after I was separated. And if you have a name that's common in the country that you're in, it's easier. It's just easier to do business and travel. And I still had to travel with my son here, so I kept the name because it's my son's name. And I think when people, was on the phone with them or applying for jobs or whatever I was doing, they thought this is who they were going to get, and then they would get me, and it was kind of confusing. Um, Dutch people don't like to admit that they can be racist, but they are. They're always shocked if you mention it. It's like, well, I look really different than the rest of you. And my business, when I was there in Amsterdam, was called California Girl. That's what people always called me as well when they would know where I was from. I had a blog and I started an Instagram account, and everything about it was, a California girl living abroad. So I was always giving like smoothie recipes and talking about all these things that we do here that in Holland they were just rolling their eyes. So I made her, and I got this too, which was hilarious. She actually looks like my best friend when I was that age. And that's what we did. That's why I included it. We just went to the beach every day for hours and played on in the waves. And I was trying to learn how to surf, which I didn't master, but yeah. So when I was that age, it was the 70s in Los Angeles, 80s, late 70s. Um, and it was a complete, in Santa Monica Beach, Venice Beach, it was a scene. It was shocking. Venice Beach back then, if anybody knows, Venice Beach was a nude beach. And my mom would take me to the beach, and I'm like eye level with these guys going, really? This is This is uncomfortable for me. Anyway. And then the last one, when I was a child, I never liked it, so I just included this one. My family called me Terry, but you say it in Spanish and it comes out different. So it's more like the beginning of Teresa, Tere, Tere, or Teri, but it's more Tere. And it came out as this cool guy. And I really like him because, I study all kinds of quantum physics and astronomy and all these kind of things. So I kind of think, and he's in that style that I like. So that's it. I think I gave you, Al, I posted a couple of other ones earlier when you first announced a challenge, but I'm not going to show them here. They've already been online.
I remember your first one when you just had the picture of the one woman, and your comment was that it made you feel like you were back. Now, I find that very interesting.
Okay.
I think that I was thinking about this and how many people like yourself are relating the images that you're getting to who you are. And the thought crossed my mind, uh, did your parents name you well, or did you become who you are because of your name? And so that may be, the thing that relates to Midjourney about your name may very well be something that is related to you because you've become that name, and it's personally you, and you feel that, and so you get those kinds of results. I find that totally fascinating, both that Midjourney would do that and also that you would respond to it that way.
Just to conclude, my mother tells me weekly about how my father, her and my father chose my name. They spent a long time on it. So it's Teresa Dalia, Dalia in Spanish without an H. And it proved to be really interesting because when I met my husband, it was on a blind date. We had a mutual friend, and in Europe, you give each other addresses when you're traveling. So he called me and said, I have your name from Reinert. And I said, okay. So we met, and it wasn't a date, it was just to meet, but we ended up being together for 30 years. And he said he chose me because of my name. So Reinert had given him a list.
Hmm.
And there were all these men on the list. And then he saw my name, Teresa Dalia Mancha, and he said, I'm going to call her. So it really shaped my life. And finally, I read, I don't know, many years ago, that in middle life, your middle name will come into play. And it's exactly what's happening to me because I only use Teresa Dahlia now. So there's
Fascinating.
a lot in a name, yeah. Thank you, everybody.
By the way, everybody, make sure you've got the comments section open. The column it'll be on the right side. You'll get to see everybody's comments and the kind of reactions that people are getting to what you're showing. Jessica, would you be willing to show yours next? I think this is a fascinating group of images.
Sure. Whoops. Let me share.
Bottom of the screen. Bottom of the screen.
Yeah, I got it. I'm just like, okay.
Okay, got
So
it.
here we go. Okay, I had a similar, I haven't seen all of who came before me except for Flory, Dahlia, and Bloom. And I also was kind of disappointed with the first results of what I got. Um, my birth name is Anna Jessica Tyson, even with a hyphen. I didn't go through all the variation, but I did Anna Jessica Tyson. And I also did it with a doctor. And sometimes I got people in what do you call it when you wear like the medicine frog, you know, or a stethoscope or something. And but
Could
this
I
one,
ask you, could I ask you to take you're in what are you showing this? Is this in
PDF,
yeah. Could you go to full screen? I think if you do Command
full
L.
screen, okay.
Yeah, because that way they can see the whole image. Right now we're just
Okay, yeah,
seeing the
yeah, I
top.
see it's not. Let me just move a few things. Excuse me. How do I do this?
You can go up in the column at the top and go to full screen, or if you do Command L, if you're on a Mac, you'll get full screen.
Okay, Command L. Well, no, now it just
Okay, well,
rotated
no,
it.
that's okay.
Um,
Well, no, yeah,
I
okay,
can make it smaller possibly and see if that does it. Yeah,
okay,
we're getting there.
yeah.
Yeah,
I like to
let's,
be that we can see what your prompt is by seeing the whole image.
I yeah, that one I actually cheated a bit. I used an SREF. And I just like that she, you know, and a lot of the Jessicas came out blonde, or like kind of vampy. So I think Jessica Rabbit must have had a real influence on that. Um, so, and I like kind of her sensitivity and that she looks in the, like there's a vulnerability and like it looks like, you know, she has a life that I liked about this image. And I just really loved the colors and the sophistication of it. Um, this is Dr. Anna Jessica Tyson. This was Dr. Jessica Tyson, and I just loved the way she looked at the camera and yeah, the directness and the impishness of it to some extent. That was not with us. That was a different SREF, not the same as this one. This is so Bavia Jessica Tyson, like in 2013, I started carrying the name Bavia. So I was Bavia Jessica Tyson for a while. Jessica for the people who knew me with that name, and Bavia for people who knew me from then on. And Bavia is a Sanskrit name, so it brought up a lot of people who seemed Indian. This is also an SREF. I liked her because she's kind of more like with a, you know, bottom up perspective. I think she's more urban and is more this kind of complex urban identity, you know, that kind of defies tradition. This was another SREF as again Jessica Tyson. We see again a blonde, but I kind of liked her wacky hat. And yeah, this is another SREF, a very strong one, and that was BJ Tyson. And it kind of speaks to that is really androgynous. And I like that it kind of brought out my I don't know if you can see the whole thing, but
Yeah, we do.
my I'm still trying to get it to fit. Maybe if I put it on a different screen, let's see. And then we can
Just
do
reduce the
no, now I
there
got
you
it.
go. There you go.
So yeah, I mean I grew up in Berlin in, you know, when there was a lot of punk. And so it kind of feels like true to my roots to some extent, and I'm a DJ, so I like that. This is Jessica also with a SREF, but it's like the stereotypical bombshell platinum blonde that seems to go with Jessica a lot. This is Bavia, and I liked her, and it's kind of like, you know, the Indian girl that's kind of standard for the Bavia. Now we get to Vesica, which is kind of the name I have adopted as a DJ. And since nobody can do Bavia or pronounce it or spell it, I've kind of like just call me Bavia. Excuse me, just call me Vesica. And so that was an SRF, but it was a lot of the kind of really the Vesica shape. I can probably show you more of that in a moment. So kind of abstract, mystical, sacred geometry. And then this Fressica Scheißen was a nickname I got as a kid, like a really mean nickname. And it basically means like she eats a lot and she shits a lot. And so I felt that this kind of like defiant little kid expressed that really, really well. And let me just share a couple more that are on my, yeah, and I'm gonna move that one too so you see it better. So that's also Fressica Scheißen. It also brought up some weird birds, bird-like characters. And then this was Vesica Tyson, PhD. And that brought out this flower of life and these like a vesica is the intersection between two circles, so that is what that is basically. Yeah, so that's it.
Well, that's terrific. Just amazing results. And part of it is having the SREFs that you incorporated, but basically what it's doing is it's giving your names a style that's part of the SREF, not necessarily changing the content.
Yeah, how do I get out of the sharing now?
Go up at the top of your screen and there'll be a little box that comes up and click stop sharing.
Okay.
Take your cursor up to the top.
Hold on, because I'm on several screens now and I need to
In the middle top, all the way up.
I'm in preview. Oh, stop share. Here we go.
Okay, great. Excellent.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That was terrific.
Thank you.
Ellen, would you like to show yours?
Sure. Think I can. Okay, so I did two, and I'm going to show you the second one. Because for me, it was very interesting to see you can see the bias and or the programming that's gone into it. Do you see this
Yes.
image? Okay. So Ellen Craven, so I actually looked at this a couple different ways. I looked at Ellen Craven. I looked at Craven, and I looked at what my mother called me as a child was Murgy, which I don't know where that came from, but she would call me Ellen Murgy. And just even like when we get into it, like understanding kind of the where the AI is picking up inspiration or where it's trying to find information even when it comes to the name Murgy. So the Craven name is where I'm starting, and it was everything was about some kind of a Irish or English countryside with an older home and a tree and lots of rolling hills and darker. So I thought that was very interesting because it didn't matter which of my personal models I put it into, it always came up with something that was very similar. So there's something about the name Craven, and there is there's a Craven area in Ireland. Cravens are very prolific also in England. So definitely there's something there that is really, really prevalent. When I looked at,
Let me just interrupt you for a second. That previous picture, I got very similar results to that using my original family name, which is Gruschwitz, Gruschwitz.
yep.
So maybe there's a German influence in this or something.
Yeah, no. Well, I'm half German, half Irish, and with a little bit of English. So for me, this was very interesting because I'm like, okay, yeah, that's probably where I came from. At least it feels like it. Ellen pulled Ellen DeGeneres, clearly influenced by Ellen DeGeneres. And this is one that was the least like Ellen DeGeneres because some of the poses were even her on a couch. So, I mean, it was really interesting that there can be, somebody who has so much influence and so much impact on society that they can act, that Midjourney is actually pulling, inferring their imagery, for what I'm prompting. The other piece, the rest of these are murgy because for me, they were the most interesting. So murgy really doesn't have a meaning. But what I found was it was trying to pull things that had flight, which I'm not sure where that came from. So wings, things that are more airy. But then also I think there's an anime component that Midjourney was trying to find that make meaning out of it, and it went to anime for some reason. So you'll see like flight again, wings, dragons. I don't know where this guy came from, but he's awfully cute. More wings. This was another one which was really interesting where I'm like, this like came out of left field. But there's something interesting about just even like that shape and the Nautilus shape. And there's something there that, this is the one that makes me want to go research and figure out why it pulled that. But I haven't done that yet. And again, anime, I just had a ton of anime that it was trying to figure out what Murgy was supposed to represent. So it was really all over the place. So that's it.
Great. Wonderful. I love the results.
Yeah, I cheated the first time and you called me on it. I did my first one. I loved my first round because I cheated and I went into the meaning. So the meaning of Ellen being shining light. And Craven is about a place of garlic or a place where you can get garlic. So I got some phenomenal images by using what the meaning was. But I really enjoyed going back and really truly looking at just my name and what was coming out.
That's great. People, we have, usually an hour, but we are going to continue on as long as we've got people that want to show stuff. So don't worry about the time. Um, June, would you show yours?
Sure. Can you see that?
Yep.
Yeah. Basically, I have posted just 4 images from a few attempts on Midjourney. I prompted, but I think these are the 4 that I love them most. Like the first one is when I prompted June Chow. So this is my full name, and it represents a lot like me and my profession. So it's a black and white, very professional architect style, and thinking about the sustainability in the architectural field. So that represents me really well. That's why this is my most favorite. And when I prompted June, this is something shocks me a lot because it comes out with a vortex, very dramatic scene where a girl or a female there in red is looking into a vortex and opening up like collapsing structure, looking into the big sea. It could say that that's something that I, as an AI art or AI and architecture explorer, looking into and a new opened world of something else new outside. And of course, without any surprise, if I prompt Chow, then it will be Chow Chow. Lots of Chow Chows, and I chosen this one because it has that Oriental backdrop, which attracted me a lot. So maybe because I have prompted too much architecture or interior design stuffs. And I still think that Midjourney has some kind of memories or something. If I in that case, sometimes I will use my personalization, or I did not use a mood board here, but maybe a profile, but I think I did or without. I don't know. How about you people? Do you think that the Midjourney will remember your style or not?
Well,
So
I think it does even without a style ref. I think that our style profile thing. I think it gets accustomed to what you uh, like to produce.
yeah, more or less. When as you see that like I'm looking at everyone's, so there are a lot of like portraits and close-ups of faces. But in my Midjourney, actually, I have maybe less than 1% faces because I'm always making sceneries, buildings, abstract art, like even urban sceneries, landscapes, and so these are the things I would get always. Like this one, when I think it has something to do with the season. If maybe it's in the month of June,
Hmm.
where yeah, when I look at this, it's super nice to me because I really love that yellow. It's vibrant, bringing some energy into the greenery, but represented in an abstract way in 3D paper art. And I love this a lot because it has that kind of like artistic way of maybe again representing me looking at the nature, and yeah, something like a very ambitious person looking at my what I would say my dream world. So that's about it.
Those are
Thanks a
great.
lot.
I'm glad you did this because those are I love the first one and the second one particularly, but very very interesting.
Yeah,
I,
thanks a
I
lot.
I'm very curious as to what inspired Spitfire would produce. You want to go next?
Sure, I'll go. All right. So my first name is, I guess I should start with screen share. There we go. All right. My name is Amanda. So that's where I started. And I got just kind of like Jessica was saying, blonde, kind of, I mean, they were okay. Oh my goodness, wrong way, but not what I was looking for. So I tried my last name, Wooden, and I started getting things like this, which, okay, makes sense. Then I went to Inspired Spitfire, and Midjourney gave me 1,000 planes. This is just the one that I picked. So then I threw it all together and I tried full name, middle name, last name, and Inspired Spitfire and got a little closer. And this is where the discussion about Midjourney knowing what it is that you like. I completely agree with that because it is, I work with neon a lot and it pulled in so much neon everywhere. So throwing it all together, I got this image and kind of this one, which, they're kind of along the same lines and I like them. They just weren't necessarily, none of this was what, I don't know what I was expecting, but whatever it wasn't this. So then I just decided for this last image, I tried Chaos Captain along with my name. And this is the image that it produced. I'm a volleyball coach, so Chaos Captain is kind of where that came from. But then once I threw everything together 100%, first name, middle name, last name, Inspired Spitfire, and Chaos Captain, this was the interesting result that I was just kind of blown away by. So once I kind of was dialed into this, I just kept running with it. And I was not unhappy with where I ended up.
These are great.
That's it.
They're terrific. Thank you so much.
No, thank you for hosting. Like this, honestly, it was a lot of fun, and meeting up with everybody to see the results and discuss is really pretty cool. So thank you.
Greatly appreciated. If you could stop sharing your screen now up at the top.
I thought I did. I was so proud of myself too. My bad.
Okay, well, let's see. We've got a number of people that haven't shown yet. Glenn, can you show us some of your nickname stuff?
Sure, Big Al. Hang on a sec. Let me know if you see.
Yep, good.
So yeah,
Wow.
can you
So
hang on one second?
Oh, you just came out.
What do you see now?
I see your thing. You got to go back to sharing.
I thought it was sharing. Okay. Hang
Oh,
on a second.
maybe you're clicking on the window instead. Move the window down and see if it's behind there.
No.
Okay,
Let me start over.
I think you've got to go back into sharing.
No problem.
Yep,
How about that?
there you are.
Is that working?
Yep.
So let me go to the first. Yeah, great. It's a wonderful project, Al. I find it so interesting how people are reading into this stuff. I don't think I did that. Had no idea what was going to happen next. Once I started putting in names, and then I realized only from this exercise how many nicknames I have, and I only gave you about half of them. And I forgot about them. Ever since childhood, and then through growing up, and then college and friends and family. So I grabbed a few. I don't have any idea what this character has to do with me, but I absolutely love it as a character. So it's Glenn H for Howard and Batkin. This is the full, like a full name. I know Batkin has some Russian roots to it, so maybe that. But other than that, I couldn't say. I love his hair. I like all the styling, and I used one single SREF for all these. G Money was a name that came out of work, a work name. Again, Big Al, I don't have any idea why is it a baby. I get the money and the jewels and and all that, and the attitude and the glasses, but I don't know why a baby. It makes me laugh. It's one of my favorite ones out of the batch. I like his attitude and his pose. Glenster is a name that's stuck around for a couple of different disconnected friends who don't even know each other. But again, I don't know why this character specifically. And again, I absolutely love the character. It's sort of a anthropomorphic dog, I suppose. I've never smoked, but I think it's funny that it has a cigarette and all the details and and colors and things. Glensky came from someone I worked with for about 2 years, decades ago, and then we're still friends to this day, and he still calls me that. And he's Danish, so I think putting the ski on things was just the thing that he does. And I'm assuming that I don't know why this guy is dressed that way, but I guess the cold weather and skiing, perhaps. I don't know why he's a military person, but it's kind of interesting. GB was a name that stuck for a decade or so. It's the initials G and B, but when you say GB, again, I don't. Is it a B because of the B? The initial B, the mechanical aspect of things. Again, I'm just reading into it without really knowing why. But I was so curious about this exercise, how different that a lot of the characters are. Just the name Glenn. I'm not quite sure if I'm the dog or the girl. I'm not sure that it matters. I'm assuming it's the dog, but I don't really know. There's something kind of heartwarming about the way they're posing together, and a quarter of the face of the dog is wrapped around the girl's head, which I find kind of charming, and that they're looking at camera and all that. A name that was given to me just because the name Batkin sounds like Batman. So that's an obvious one. That's come up a couple of times throughout my life, and then it's stuck with a few guys, especially guys. And there's the Batkin, there's the Batman. So I guess the word bat, and then, I mean, literally it looks like a mechanical Batman. I'm assuming I got that from the word bat. I don't know how else. I mean, it's fairly obvious, I think. And then the last one stuck for probably a decade. I think I was friends with so many people and so many different types of people in my life, keeping a rather open mind to everyone, anyone and everyone. So the name Buddy stuck, and then it would attach itself to Glenn Buddy, and that stuck around for a couple of decades, I think. Again, I'm not quite sure. I don't know why this little character in the pose and the clothes. I suppose Buddy is maybe attached to having a young buddy. He's my little buddy kind of thing, perhaps. But again, I'm just interpreting things that are not evident. But I love the project, Big Al, and thank you again for reminding me how many names that I had, and this was again only about half of them. So it was a lot of fun.
Great. That's terrific. Chad, you did some stuff.
Sorry, Big Al, I'm still here. Yes, I was actually saying that I needed to dip to another meeting, but I can share real quick. Let's see. All right. Content only. Share. Can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
All right. So this is the post that I did for Big Al. And I took my name, Chad Lawfer, divided it into Chad, Lawfer, and then Chad Lawfer all together. So the first 5 images are just Chad itself. So as I'm sure you guys know, Chad has several connotations out there, not all flattering. But I loved this picture. I'm not a smoker anymore, but I was at one point in my life, and this was just kind of, I like his attitude. So this was my opening scene. And so just to give you some context, so basically I used my name, I used my global profile, and then I stylized it pretty high at like an 800. So as we were talking in the past, I believe that Midjourney, fine tunes itself around what we're prompting and what we're producing. So I've been using Midjourney for about 2.5 years now. So it really kind of knows what I like. I found that even prompting is so much easier now because it knows my vibe. So, all right, second one for Chad. By the way, just like this kind of, I'm not really sure what it's saying, but I like the style. I don't know. So this would be more of what the stereotypical Chad would be, I would guess. And also, I think that the country itself is coming into play in some of these. So I noticed in a lot of these that it takes little hints of things that I've done in the past. So I had a series where people's skin was almost fabric. So I really like that. So this was the last one of Chad. Now we're going into Laufer, which in German means to run or a messenger. I'm not really sure how this translates from that, but I liked the image. Another Laufer. I don't know what this is saying, but this is kind of how I felt when I woke up this morning. And I found that it did a really nice mix of kind of my avant-garde, surreal illustration. It just started mixing in all of these styles that I've used in the past, so I really liked. And then this, I would say this is probably my favorite image that was produced, and this was off my last name of Laufer. So then the next 5 here are a combination of my first and last name. So this is Chad Laufer. This was strange, but very fitting for the season. This guy's just got a nice attitude. I like this guy. This one is also one of my favorites. I almost felt like this is a an interpretation of a magic carpet ride. And then this one, I just really liked the realism and texture of this guy's skin. I don't know necessarily what this has to do with me, just like the image. And then that's it.
That's great. You know, another factor in all this of what you're showing, each of us is showing, is your selectivity of, you know, the results and which ones you, you know, relate to the most. That's one way to do it. Okay, let's see. Dan, you came on first today, so how about sharing your stuff?
Sure, I'll do that. First of all, let me say that this is really an impressive collection of one-word prompting. I'm very impressed, and I usually write out concepts and storylines before I start to wrestle with Midjourney for control of the visuals, because for me storytelling is everything. It's the way that I make pictures. So it's fair to say a one-word prompting, Al, is pretty much out of my comfort zone let I usually start the writing process. But I think it's very interesting to get the opportunity to let Midjourney take the steering wheel and just be a passenger and observe, see what happens when Midjourney is driving the bus. So this picture I chose is based on a couple of my mood boards. I have a mood board that's called Hybrid Oil, and it's you can imagine if you take John Singer Sargent, this expressive way of painting but precise, and add it on top of a photography. That's the purest form of this mood board. And it shows in this piece. I really like that character of it. And another thing that Midjourney picked up on from my mood boards was this negative space. That's something that I do a lot and put into my mood boards, because I like the way that you can start with symmetry, and if you remove half, then the half that is missing is really a center of attention. And I usually, when I do stories, I add the twist very, very subtly into the areas where there's supposed to be symmetry. So it's a way of developing a story. And obviously Midjourney here, and the one prompt for Gabriel, which is my middle name, took the angel and removed one of the wings. And another thing that is showing in this piece, and is the reason why I chose it, is the ambiguity. There's, you know, I don't know how to put it. I think Midjourney is a brilliant illustrator, but a poor storyteller in itself. If you don't really wrestle a story out of your workflow, Midjourney will present stuff like an object on a scene. Doesn't make sense. So it's not. If you want a layered story, you really have to work with the piece. Otherwise, Midjourney is just going to do a punchline or do the headline of a story. So when I'm working with this exploration and in this case a one-word prompt, I look for seed to a story. And in this case, the seed for the story that I think Midjourney really made interesting is the whole ambiguity. The wing, is it attached to Gabriel's back, or is it actually hanging on the wall behind him? And for me, that's a powerful seed for a zillion different stories. You can go philosophical, you can argue our relation to religion, or you can go anywhere with that, and that for me is very very intriguing.
Did you have any other images?
No, I understood that was supposed to pick one, and then so you know the other ones I have somewhere in Midjourney, but I didn't really curate it. I only picked this one because
Okay.
I think
Well, that's fine. It's a fantastic image. And it's, you know, it has all kinds of implications of a fallen angel and surrealistic interpretation of it. It's wonderful.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing it.
Okay, so I'll take you through a few things to show you where I ended up with. So so when I first put in just my name, maybe there's some soap opera actor or something like that that's unknown to me, but I got images like this when when I first put in my name, and I'm like, I'm not posting that. I mean, that's like central casting, and I have no idea. And I mean, what's interesting is they kind of all look alike to a certain extent.
Yeah, they are your stereotypical uh, soap
Yeah,
opera characters, aren't they?
right. I have no idea why, and that was with that was using my full name, and then I said, okay, well, that's not going to fly. So then I said, even though you said not to, just to try to do it pure, I said, well, let me play around with an SREF. So I found this SREF and I got images like this, which I found interesting only because that's kind of like what my office looked like when I worked when I worked at the agency. I always had, stuff stuck up on the walls, and it also put my name up on the wall as well. So it was like a whole series of those that that all, kind of look, similar. This guy at his desk, and I kind of do like the kind of style of it. It's kind of like
Yeah.
semi-animated and semi-real, but I mean, it does, and it kind of, he kind of looks like an artist, which is kind of interesting that it interpreted the guy as like an artist, not like a finance guy or something like that. So, um, but I wanted to stay pure to the ask. So then I went and I said, well, my name's not going to work, so let me try using my initials. And I don't have any backstory of like why I got any of this imagery, but this is what I got, using my initials, and this is what I had posted. So, however you want to describe these, anyone is open to interpretation. It did a lot of neon signs and created this kind of dark, kind of strange world using my initials, but I kind of liked it. I thought it was kind of interesting. Um, why it's this modelly guy, I don't know, but this is what I
You,
got.
you didn't put it in quote marks, did you?
My
Because,
initials?
yeah,
No, I did use
I,
periods.
I just think it's fascinating that it keeps putting the letters into the image.
Yeah, I did not put quote marks at all. I just put periods. It was like it was either E period D period or E period
Uh-huh.
L period D period. So the town of ELD, I guess.
Daphne, eld in Swedish means fire.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yes.
And then there's no person at all, just a neon sign. So I don't know what that meant. And again, putting the initials on a sign, with a guy posing in front of it. So that's what that was the results I got using my initials.
That's terrific. Yeah, fascinating the differences of what everybody's getting. Sabrina, did you have some stuff you could show?
Uh, yeah, I have. Um, just let me share the screen. Okay. So I tried my name, Sabina, and it's interesting how I got mostly portraits, and if you can see, a lot of them are quite similar look. But then again, the styles are very different, and so you get a photo, a bit more artistic photo. So very, very different. But all are portraits. And when I added my surname, again, portraits. And as you can see, this lady shows again very similar to when I only prompted my name. Then the next time I went for a higher stylization, and the results were more artistic. But if you see, all the images are very different in style.
I'm sorry, Sabina, did you use any mood boards or SREF or anything like that?
No. Sorry. How
So
do
it's
I
the
close
standard
this?
model.
Yeah, you can see here all the parameters. So it was only my name and so name or the whole name and different stylization. So here I added my global profile, and the results are very different, and I like them a lot. But again, portraits, because I do a lot of portraits when I explore Midjourney, and I must say that I like them a lot, especially this one.
I particularly like that one also.
Yeah, and when I tried to use describe on this image, and the prompt that I got from describe, no chance that the images were not even 10th of this image. So I think Midjourney really does great job when you don't prompt much, it just uses its imagination, I think.
Yeah, so to get you right, describe is quite poor, right? Sometimes it's really off.
I don't have that experience. Sometimes I get good results with Describe, but I agree. Maybe 80% is very poor, but sometimes you get very good results with Describe. So here again, I was using different stylize. This one was with 1,000. Here was with 50. So you see difference with 1,000. It's more, you get better images. I think so. That's my opinion. And I like them a lot. All of this. It shows that my global profile suits me. I mean, it's me. It represents me, my vibe. I don't know how to explain it. So then I went for my nickname. Please don't laugh, but my grandfather called me Zbinz. And here the results are quite funny because this word doesn't mean anything. I believe in any language because it's very weird. So
those are so cool. Can you bring up some of them in a closer?
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
So can you bring up maybe number 2 and yeah.
yeah, you can see so very different result with so I think Midjourney just create something. I don't know with what would associate this nickname because it really doesn't have any
I
meaning.
think within fantasy, within traditional comics, where you're out of space, you use the C with the consonant a lot, and that may be what's pulled up this fantasy world. It's
Yeah, I guess
you know,
so.
that
I
one is
guess so.
Möbius.
Those would be great
So
to see animated, Sabina.
this one.
A couple of them.
Ah, okay. So here I introduced my global profile, and you see that it changed the vibe, and very interesting. It introduced animals. This one is really crazy. Again, a dog. I don't know. Again, here an animal, but it looks, I don't know which animal that is. Maybe a dog, but kind of strange dog. I love this one. This one is one of my favorite. So yeah, this is it.
Terrific.
I love that. I love that great one, and it almost looks like a book cover.
Yeah.
Okay, so stop share. Okay.
Okay, terrific. Good exploratory too, in trying different things with it. Wonderful.
Yeah, I wanted to do explore more, but I didn't have time then. But it's really amazing, especially today when you all showed your images. It's amazing how different results were. And also, I then explored with ChatGPT the name Sabina, why it created so many like lovely women, because Sabina is a name that you can find all over the world.
Right.
In every continent, every religion, a lot of Muslim women are Sabina. You can get it also in India. So it's interesting why Midjourney called this young cutie, so to say.
I think it's amazing how different everybody's is. It really is something. Nagawa, could you show yours too?
Yeah, sure. I'll just share my screen. Okay, so when I started off, I just started off with my global profile, and it was showing me Japanese
Yep,
scenery,
yep.
basically. And I figured, and then I tried, putting in my dark fantasy to like see if it'd be any different. So I figured these were all like based in the prefecture of like Kanagawa in Japan, and that's where I was getting them from. So I was trying to find a way to get out of there. So I used my my cyberpunk sci-fi mood board. And they're still in Japan, but at least getting, more people as characters. And so she's samurai, and this one's different. She's in a bar. And here's another
And you got
lady.
a cyberpunk mood board with these, right?
Yeah. And so this helped me get more variety and more things that I was like interested in like seeing. Especially doing my name. And I brought more variety in here, like started introducing cars. And just as and here again, another scenery where again a samurai, and then just the architecture coming into it. And another one, she's another one, she's got a samurai sword. And then cars again, because I love cars, but don't know how I haven't prompted cars in ages, so don't know how my journey remembered that, but that was pretty cool. And here again, scenery again with like cars. And then I did again, I just did my surname. And so again, it was showing women. And so my surname is like can be found in East Africa. So again, like East African. So here is like more people, diverse women. And then I decided to use like just my first name and then my surname together. And then here was more, and here I started getting more like androids. So, which is pretty cool. And still more series. And then I decided, so this was pretty cool. And I really like this one where, yeah, I thought this one was quite beautiful, striking. And then what I decided to do was to, whoops, to add my middle name. So then I got this image, which I was expecting again. And then I started to get images like this, which I figured was from Hannah, which was quite different from other names, which are more like diverse and can be found in different countries. And so here again, and there's like a redhead. I'm part Scottish, so I figured this is when I was the problem with when I was from prompting like Scottish women, like when it's St. David's Day. And then here I used my nickname, the Anglophone version. I got nags and I got cars, supercars. These are pretty cool. And again, still cyberpunk in a garage with a car. And here I got my name on the car, which is super cool. And then here I use my initials, NHL. And of course, got hockey, not a surprise. Um, just got different people playing hockey. And here I used my nickname, but the French version, they tend to drop the S. And so again, more cyberpunk instead of getting older white men. So that was quite different. Wasn't expecting that. So I figured this was the Charlie and Charlie's Angels. If I was to make this like a whole story. And yeah. So those were mine. So
They're great. I'm so glad you did this. They're wonderful.
yeah,
Well,
thank you.
that leaves Israel. Have you got something you can show us? If you guys are wanting me to do so, I mean, I can show you some choices of mine before we close out, if you
Yeah, go
want.
ahead.
So this is just a variety of the ones that I have posted. And what I find interesting, I think since Grushwitz is an Americanized Grushwitz, it doesn't have the same kind of connotation as the true German word. But anyway, I get just a variety of things. And again, I think it's influenced by, what we have done. Big Al will always get some big animals. Just Big Al. Then I also got some big elephants with. Actually, one of the pictures that I got selected by Lasur's archives for this year is one where it's like in a room having a tea party with a little man. That was actually prompted as Big Al. Albert Francis, just
Nice
Albert.
consistency in the style. Well, except for here. but did you use an SREF or a mood
No,
or
this is stylized 50, which is what I usually set things at because it's closer to the prompt than going into other, getting other influences into it.
so
No,
the standard model or your global? Did you use the standard model or did you use your global profile? Or?
no, just the name and stylized 50.
Right,
Which
that,
which
yeah.
I'm sorry, which I found very interesting because it definitely, I agree with you, Dan. It definitely looks like some influence was used besides stylized 50.
Yeah,
So the only thing I'm going to surmise is what we were talking about later. It kind of knows your style, and
yeah,
the style of a lot of your pieces is reminiscent to other work that I've seen you do before. So I think it just knows what you like, and
yeah.
it's going to please you based on what you've done before. if you use nothing else, because I totally thought you used something else because they have a very painterly look to them,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
especially
And,
V7 is so not painterly.
Also, I think that if you used it in a continuous session, it has a memory within that session. Sometimes I have to,
yeah.
open another browser in order to get out of a groove that is, I don't want. So sometimes it's really hard to break this staying in a groove. But you can also use it as it seems here that the first ones you did in a continuous session, right?
I don't know if you see that this was the name that I said my name was when I was 1 year old, and my mother kept trying to get me to say my name, and I always said Baba Kwakwa, and just my initials go to Afghanistan with AFG. And then I tried Grushwitz, got much more Germanic look to things. Then my wife's name. There's that tree that looks very similar to what I forget which person had that in there. Was it you, Teresa, that had that?
That was Ellen.
So Judith, biblical name, very typical for the top one. Judith Rose Powers, because her maiden name was Powers. That's basically the ones I wanted to share with you today. I am delighted that everybody has done this and wish that I was smart enough to come up with something each week to bring people together as many people as have shown up today. And frankly, I think I have. Next week, Sarah Chevalier from Ontario is going to be on, and she is, I think, a real character person and very interesting, outgoing. She does a lot with her avatar, which is also besides her art images. And I've asked her to make sure she invites her avatar as well as her two little fuzzy friends. That one of her images was her avatar sitting in a bed with her legs under the covers and these two little fuzzy creatures that she's reading a bedtime story to. So she's going to be on next week. I am still trying to see what I can do in terms of the following week on the 14th. What I'm hoping to do, if he will respond to me, is our old buddy Brian Sykes. He's got the new book coming out on Firefly, and I just think he's, everybody knows who Brian is, but I'd like to have Brian come on and show a variety of things that he's doing to educate people, and also what his influence is and why he's been so involved with AI and excited about it since the very beginning. He and I did a one-word prompt book back when it was version 4 and 5. That was an interesting thing to see what the word by itself does and then incorporate it into a longer prompt to see how that word influences the prompt. And then on the 21st, Deepika Grover is coming back, and she's going to talk about her service of doing websites with using AI. So that should be very interesting as well. She's from India, and she's a very capable person, and the first time she was on was just a wonderful presentation. So that's where we're at, folks, and I really appreciate everybody coming today and sharing their stuff, and I hope you guys come back more frequently, because we usually have some very interesting people that we're interviewing. And if we don't have somebody to interview, then I try to give some sort of tutorial. Again, thank you for being here. I'm going to stop recording now.